B1 family, welcome to Black Logic. And today we're going to have a general discussion about the media and the influence that it really has on the Black community because a lot of things are subconsciously and subdued to control the way that we respond to certain things. Uh, Shaping the narrative of Black Americans, whether it be from criminalization to stereotypes, we have to understand that the media plays a very powerful role in shaping how society views individuals within our community. Because looking through a very critical lens, we examine how these portrayals perpetrate harmful stereotypes and contribute to what we known as systematic racism. Because I think we need to really break down the dynamics. And again, we're going to build a foundation and we're definitely going to work from there. Okay, we're definitely going to work from there, family. So let me share with you a couple of definitions here. But first, we're going to go over this maybe one or two times throughout this. But it states here that the media, and they have the sources down here: My Social Life, Bartlett Bay, and Prezi for the sources if you guys want to read it for yourself. The media influences the subconscious mind daily through advertisement, news, games, movies, and the internet. Media can influence people's mind in positive and negative ways, because if you're a subscriber to Fox News, then you're going to get rhetoric and propaganda and news, whatever you want to label it, from a conservative mindset. If you go to CNN or MSNBC, it's more liberal. So they have their own biases, but that are influencing people to think one way or another. It states here, for example, advertisements can influence people to buy expensive products. Advertisement can influence people to buy expensive products, look at a certain way, eat certain foods, and create negative self-concepts. Media can also change the way people see the world, such as influencing how people look, trends, and style, how wealthy they are, or what clothes they have. The subconscious mind, and there's a good book, family, that I read called The Power of the Subconscious Mind by Joseph L. Murphy. Really good book, a short read, but I think you should read it. The subconscious mind is constantly absorbing information from outside sources and using that information to form beliefs that shape how people think and how people behave. For example, studies have shown that after just 14 minutes of passive exposure to television news bulletins and programs, there was an increase in both anxious and sad moods, meaning people getting sad from watching whatever they were displaying at the time. Social media can also influence people's subconscious mind, including their income, credit history, outstanding loans, credit limits, and purchases made with a card. This information is also available to political groups, which can influence people's votes and ideas on social issues. One more, the human subconscious mind is considered as an information storage. Thus, media influence people's subconscious daily through news, advertisement, games, and we went over that in a very negative or positive way, however you want to shape it. To manipulate someone, to handle or control. Okay, we're talking about mental control of the subconscious mind, but not just that, how the different many social media platforms that you're on, the news that you watch, the journals that you read, the articles, the documentaries that you watch, all influence you on a conscious and subconscious level. And sometimes people react because of that control, because of that influence, because of that rhetoric, because of that truth, because of that disinformation, because of that conjecture, because of that influence that you receive from media, that you receive from the news. Entertainment, the actual providing or being provided with amusement or enjoyment. We all say that it seems as though that the system of white supremacy, it makes everything a big joke. It makes you want to enjoy the racism in a sense. They always come through with some sort of racist, diluted way of trying to make things better, like it's all inclusive. Okay, but that's how they do it. diluted the additional water or another solvent. It's called your mind. By diluting and making it weaker than what it really is, people are more acceptance of media and the things that it, may lean left or right on. Influence, the capacity to have an effect on the character development of people, of behavior of someone or something, or the effect itself. And all we know what all means. I wanted to break it down, family. I wanted to break down the abbreviation of media because I think a lot of times we're looking at me or someone else. I'm giving you information from a perspective. And here's the big point. I was trying to find a clip of Malcolm X basically saying if you control the media, and I'm paraphrasing, if you control the media, you basically control the minds of the people. Propaganda. I'm going right into propaganda. Information, especially of a biased or misleading nature, used to promote or publicize a particular political cause or point of view. Propaganda. A lot of times what I'm noticing is when we're using the terms like disinformation, false information was intended to mislead, especially propaganda issued by the government, disinformation. When we look at fake news, fake news or information disorder is false or misleading information. All of these terms mean one thing, and a lot of Americans don't really use propaganda. We kind of use that word. We kind of label certain countries or certain people in other countries that they're spewing propaganda because they're dictators. But family, we're using the same words. I mean, we're using different words meaning the same thing. We're using the same word. We're using different words that mean the same thing. Conjecture, to arrive at or deduce by summarize or guesswork. I think because it is, I'm speaking of conjecture. I think, but because 50% of my information was true, because 50% of my information sounded true, did you know that the next 25% most people will believe? Because the way our brain works, because when you add truth and lies together, depending on where your allegiances lie, you tend to believe everything, or you tend to give excuses about everything, meaning that you accept the lie for your own truth, even though you know it's a lie. And this is all from the media and social media, family, and the news. Social media, news, all the same now. Everything is streaming, all the same rhetoric. The art of effect or persuasive speaking or writing, especially use of figures of speech and other compositional techniques, rhetoric. And then bias, prejudice in favor of or against one thing, person or group compared with another. That's why I always tell you, I give you my black bias. Disinformation, we went over that already. So yeah, family, I wanted to break a couple of things down before we really got into the broadcast here, because I think a lot of times what we're not doing is deducting the truth. Yeah, we're not deducting the truth, family. We're not deducting the truth, because from new outlet to Hollywood blockbusters, the narrative has been very, very clear. It doesn't matter. Would it be Hollywood, other small films that create black films? I was watching something on Twitter today. It was a black cartoon. It was perpetuating stereotypes about black folk. A current day cartoon. I don't know who approved it. I don't know who asked for it, but I guarantee you're going to run into it on Twitter or somewhere. Automatically, you're going to turn your nose up at it. But ever since they created the media, ever since media was created, black equals criminal. Even before the media, black equals criminal. And nowadays, turn on your TV, go to your streaming app, Go through your news feed, and what do you see? You see our faces plastered all across the screens, but rarely in positions of power or prestige. Instead, we are portrayed as the thugs, the gangsters, and the hoodlums, perpetuating the dangerous myth that blackness is synonymous with criminality. That is the picture that they paint. Because statistics showing the overrepresentation of black individuals in media coverage of crime, despite evidence showing that black people are not inherently more prone to criminal behavior than anyone else. And yes, there are some environmental factors, and that is not to get a scapegoat or an excuse for someone's doing illegally. But if we peel back this layer, the narrative didn't materialize out of thin air. It didn't come from nowhere, family. It has been meticulously crafted over decades, over centuries, rooted in systematic racism by those who benefit from our oppression. From the days of the minstrel shows to modern day cable news, the playbook remains the same. Demonize blackness to maintain the status quo. Demonize blackness to maintain the status quo. That is what they do. And sometimes it's just not about selling papers, if they do that anymore. It's not about that. How many likes, how many views. This is about maintaining power and control over a marginalized group that they put in place. Images of discriminatory laws and policies such as redlining, voting, gentrification, voting suppression, even though I don't believe in that thing, but people throw it in there as one. And we're still, here's the thing. People always say how long ago some of these things occurred. But in the same breath, they will give political figures excuses because they said or did a certain thing such a long time ago. But in the same breath, when we say in 1994, Joe Biden created a crime bill that incarcerated and basically destroyed the black nuclear family. Oh, that was so long ago. But when you talk about his racist speeches about jungle with those people, you ain't black if you don't vote for me. Oh, that was such a long time ago, Black Logic. Oh, that was such a long time ago. How dare you? How dare you? Will it be the Central Park Five with Donald Trump? He doubled down and stated, well, even though they had someone in custody with DNA that was examined to be his at the scene of the crime and none of the Central Park Five, he still doubled and tripled down. And even showing the interviews where their statements and their testimonies were being coerced. But a lot of us was on board because of our political affiliation. See, when you paint an entire race as inherently violent or lazy, we have people who are legally in our country coming over the border stating that Black Americans are lazy because they're looking at our media. They're looking at our politics on media. They're looking at our social media platforms and they see all these other groups. And sometimes they even see us talking about us in a negative light. And that's all through media. I'm not saying media is bad, family. I'm just saying that media has been used for a lot more demonic things that your conscious mind can't simply pick up. Because it's been all too easy to justify denying us access to education, like really education, true unemployment, housing, and let alone justice that a lot of us don't receive in this country. It's a vicious cycle of oppression. And we have many of people who benefit from our suffering. Many of people. Because examples of media coverage reinforcing harmful stereotypes such as portrayal of black victims as deserving of their fate. Have you noticed when we have black victims and we have a non-white assailant, a person who committed the crime essentially? Have you noticed they start to dig inside of the black person's past? Oh, he got locked up for a dime bag. What? He was assaulted. He was shot. He was hit with something. He was stabbed. What? What are you talking about? Why are you in his background if he was assaulted? Well, we have reason to believe they don't know each other. It was a random race attack. Well, no. It was not it was not an anti-hate attack. Or it wasn't a hate attack for a black person. So it wasn't a race crime. Got it. But this is how they portray us. This is how they portray us around the world, family, as deserving of the fate of the glamorization of criminal behavior in films. See, when you go over to Asia, I've been there. When you go over to Africa, I've been there. They have this negative stereotype about Black Americans that we are criminals because the majority of the imagery, the majority of the perceptions that the media, okay, doesn't matter what type, entertainment media, TV media, that's portrayed in those other countries is that we're just thugs and gangsters. They don't show people who work in banks. No. They don't show people who own and work in business. No. And all these very explicit view of black men. The thugs are the ones with the long hair. The thugs are the one with the plaits and the cornrows and the dreadlocks. And they wear hoodies and they wear jeans that droop below and they have on sneakers. And I have you to tell you that majority of black people dress that way and majority of black people are not criminals. It's just comfortable, or that's their swag, or that's their style, or whatever the term being used. But see, this is that negative picture. It gives people negative connotation. It gives people subconscious bias where it have people to discriminate against you from something they saw, from something they heard on media. Because every time they have us plastered all over the news media, what they tell us, oh, here's a thug, here's a gangster. These aren't just words. These are loaded weapons used to dehumanize and vilify black people. See, again, it's linguistic warfare. They use certain vernacular, certain vocabularies in a certain lexicon in order to capture the masses to paint this, again, to paint this picture that is designed to justify discrimination and violence against us. The same liberal network that you watch and the same conservative network that you watch all do the same thing. They all do the same thing. Knowledge is power, my friends, and by shining a light, this revealing this. So next time you're looking at media, next time you're going through the news, you're not just blaming people because of what you heard. You're not just blaming people because 100 people got on board. Some of you are going to say that doesn't make sense. Some of you are going to say that doesn't make sense. What about Puffy? What about Puffy? Now, we've been hearing about P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Diddy for a very long time. But nothing ever came out that was concrete. We heard a couple of rappers talk about Diddy parties and some of the things that was going on there. But now they have a current story about a drug mule, that Diddy had a drug mule. Now, family, I don't really want to touch on this but I'm just giving you the picture that the media, again, has really, they really masturbated this situation horribly bad, because it has a lot of black people that's anti-Diddy. We got terms like no Diddy. I use it, no Diddy. Instead of no homo, we don't use that no more. They said the term is no Diddy. And again, family, I don't know if he's guilty or not. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. I think it was what, 21 women came out with allegation against Donald Trump. And I know I'm getting to the political atmosphere there, but I want you to think about that. 19 people came out allegedly, supposedly, about Donald Trump. And they have recordings of him saying he grabbed pretty women on the JJ. But because people allegiances with Trump, they let it go. He became president. I don't have a dog in the fight, family. I told you, I've been on the couch. I've been on the couch until tangibles on the table for Foundation Black America. So I'm just watching the political infighting. I'm watching the political infighting, the outfighting, all the above. But we have to deduct the truth. In every case where they plaster a black man or a black woman or a black child and tell us that this person is guilty, where's the proof? Could he be guilty? Could he be guilty on the okay, first of all, who did Puff Daddy sexually traffic? We understand he paid the young lady, I think, some crazy amount of money, like $100 million. And everyone was talking about how this was the first time in history that a settlement occurred in one day. In 24 hours, it was settled. So something must have went on there, in my own conjecture. That's just my opinion. But now when we start talking about drug trafficking, and they have Homeland Defense and the FBI breaking down his homes in Florida and California, and family, I'm not getting on the bus with Puffy. I'm just looking at this from a media point of view and how people's minds can be shaped and manipulated and changed and coerced on news that they repeatedly report on all these different networks, but none of them are showing proof. Will proof come out later? Probably so. But if you notice what media does, family, what media does, it has you to be guilty in the court of public opinion even before you go into the courthouse. You're either guilty or innocent in the court of public opinion by the way of media. Whether you're guilty or innocent. And believe me, family, that has got a lot of people freed, and that has got a lot of people locked up. The power of media. The power of media. I see you guys in here. Tana Marie, Royal T, Jermaine Anderson, my good brother. Miles apart. Bulls fan. Nice to see everyone in the room today. Please like, share, and subscribe if you're new to Black Logic. Please like, share. I don't know if that's a word or not. Share. Share and subscribe to the channel. I'm just tired of these, these narratives, family, that continue to portray us in a very negative light. I really am. I really am. Because it kind of has me thinking. It kind of has me thinking about a couple of instances here. It really has me think about a couple of instances, about times. When you go back in our history, let's say 1955 with Emmett Till, right? 1955 with Emmett Till. We already know what happened there. He was brutally murdered in Mississippi for allegedly whistling at a white woman. Didn't commit a crime. Even if he whistled, that's not a crime. But it was a crime back then. And what did the media do? The media demonized him, depicting him. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Emmett Till was 14 at the time. They depicted him as a sexual predator. But where was the evidence? There was no evidence. As I stated before, the Central Park Five, 1989. It was some Black and Latino teenagers that was falsely accused of raping a lady that was jogging. And what did the media do? They ran with a frenzy and they vilified these people. And it took years for the truth to surface, but the damage was already done. So these are the continuous consistency of compounding perspective and narratives about Black folk, which weaponize people who are already bigots, who are in the making of being a bigot, who are in extremist groups, who and I said this in one of my videos probably about a year or two ago. I stated the worst white supremacists wear suits. The most horrible, demonized white supremacists wear suits. These are the ones that are denying you of a bank loan. These are the ones that are increasing your bank loan 1% to 2% when you have a great credit score over 720. These are the ones who are signing legislation or foregoing legislation for the betterment of our people. These are the ones. These are the ones who are in charge of huge corporations, who use social media to say negative, ill will things about Black people, which furthers the propaganda, and it makes these people call to action in harming us. That's what this does. Trayvon Martin, 2012. Trayvon Martin, 2012. Unarmed, gunned down by George Zimmerman. And instead of focusing on Trayvon Martin, they painted Trayvon Martin as a thug, as a gangster, because he was wearing a hoodie on the phone with his girlfriend. And his killing was justified. See, this is the epitome of victim blaming. Every time there's a Black victim, what do they try to do? Oh, well, he had an assault charge last year. He was in a street fight. What that got to do with him being shot in the shoulder? Well, I don't know. Michael Brown, 2014. Killed by a police officer in Ferguson. And, you know, Michael Brown was a fairly big guy. They portrayed him as a menacing giant. Oh, the police officer feared for his life. That once again justifying his murder. And what did the evidence show? That Michael Brown had his hands up and surrendering. Freddie Gray, 2015. He was arrested for simply making eye contact with the police. We are also known for those who belong the slave patrol. I'm not stating all police is bad. I'm stating that the bad police is bad. He made eye contact, family. And then the media criminalized him, labeling him as a troublemaker. But no accountability for his unjust death. None. Ahmaud Arbery, 2020. Hunted down while jogging with two extremist white supremacists. And all these white supremacists came out the woodwork to try to back those. Wow. Breonna Taylor, we already know that story. George Floyd, we already know that story. McKee Bryant, we already know that story. Dante Wright. Now we go back to McKee Bryant. That happened in what, 21? A child shot dead by the police within seconds of their arrival. And then the media once again stepped in, attempted to justify the killing by scrutinizing her actions instead of investigating, questioning the use of the use of force that was used. And because here's the thing, family, all these organizations, CNN, MSNBC, ABC, NBC, Fox, whatever it may be, all these news networks, they have investigator reporters, people who go out and investigate stories to actually find the truth. So why is they keep continuing to get things wrong? Why are they keep continuing to vilify black folk as the guilty person where we are innocent and unarmed? Because they understand that media can influence people who are not consciously aware of what they can influence to do things they normally wouldn't do without their influence, without their propaganda. These are not isolated incidents, family. They're part of a systematic pattern of dehumanization and injustice to our people. I want you guys to truly understand that the media wields immense, unimaginable power. Okay? Not out of a comic book, family. I just had to say it that way. Because that's what they do. They wield an immense, humongous, immense of power. You're on media all day. You're on media all day, whether you're watching a movie, whether you be watching a show, a news, this broadcast, any other things on social media. Let me tell you, family, they have a lot of power. They have a lot of influence. And if you're not aware of the power of media because you're so inundated with entertainment, then you'll be the ones who will be you'll be one of the ones who are manipulated by doing so. Very, very powerful, family. Because with me, the one thing that I continue to try to do here on Black Logic is present the truth with a little bit of black bias. But I will call myself out because I really don't want to shape your mind to the way I think. I just want to reveal the truth. See, I get a lot of people in my comment section, family, speaking out of their emotions when it comes to black folk. They're not speaking in statistics. They're not speaking in reality. Oh, well, I don't see that around here. Well, I do. Oh, that down here happen to black people, right? Well, where I'm from, it does. Tina Marie said this is needed. We are very brainwashed by media. Indeed, we are, sister. Because the first thing that I know most people want to do about Puff is victimize Puff. Because they always say black people, we cry victimhood. Oh, you got some black people. Oh, Puff's a victim here. There's no evidence, there's no proof. Which is true. But see, this keeps me safe. This keeps my mind stable. I don't know. You see what I'm saying? Because of media, people have already made a decision on Puff. They said, man, he guilty. There's been stuff for years about Puff doing X, Y, and Z. But a sex trafficker, meaning that he's dealing in the arena of Epstein, a sex trafficker? Probably he did some weird things, with the lady he paid out. Okay. I mean, she said she was forced. I don't know I don't know if that's assault. I don't know if that's, I don't know if that's rape. I don't know. I don't know, family. But she got paid out. But then he's sex trafficking. And then they locked up this white boy who had drugs in him. And he was, I guess, he knew Puff. But they said now Puff is a drug mule. Or this is Puff's drug mule. Family. Truff. Puff is not even in the country. I don't blame him. Again, family, I'm not putting on a cape. And I'm not going to throw him under the bus. I'm not going to do either one. I don't know. There's a lot of things to me are connected because if I don't recall, what's the drink? What's the liquor that Puff has? Is it a tequila? Is it a cognac? But I know he was suing the people he was in business with his alcohol. Yeah, he was suing them if I can recall correctly. And I'm not going to say shortly after, the lawsuit started, but we know how lawsuits tend to gain traction. Now, all of a sudden, he's sex trafficking. Now, all of a sudden, they court Puff's drug mule. Again, I'm not putting on the Kate family. I'm not getting on Puffy's side, but I'm not going to throw him under the bus because I just don't know. Because we only know what the media shows us, right? And we really have to find out the truth. Because the truth is in court, believe it or not. I mean, is the justice system, is that reliable for black folk? History tells us no, but with a good lawyer, we'll really find out the truth. OJ didn't do it. OJ didn't do it, family. 5 says, even Candace Owens, we may not always agree with her and look at her married to a white man, but she has spoken the truth. We think we won, but the devil knows she speak the truth. And see, here's my thing, brother. Does Candace Owens speak the truth? Yeah, sometimes. Yes, sometimes. I don't know the terminology for it, okay? I don't know the terminology for it, but I really want to find out the terminology for this, family. I really do. I really do. I really want to know the terminology of when you tell lies with the truth. Information, this is propaganda, especially of a bias or misleading nature, used to promote or publicize a particular political cause or point of view. So you can take the truth and bastardize it. You can take the truth and transform it according to your bias to make something more inflated than it already is. Case in point with Candace Owens, since you brought her up. Candace Owens stated that Black Americans are the most murderous group, which is a lie. White people have killed more people in this country than any other group. Oh, wait a minute. Is it in the past 5 years? Is this the past 5 years? We're talking about in the country, like, period. And be really weary of who you back. Be really weary of who you back if they always speaking negatively about black folk and they're black themselves. Think about that. Oh, she didn't speak in the truth. Why don't she speak the truth about white people? Oh, yes, she does every now and again. But, okay, here's the thing. If someone speaks truth or speaks lies or speaks propaganda on one particular group 80% of the time, and just to see, well, I don't just talk about bad about black folk. I talk about white supremacy too. At 20%, I can't trust that, family. I can't trust that. You know what? There are some things I just don't comment on. There are some things I just don't make videos on. There's some things on Twitter I don't even respond on because it continues to paint us in a negative light. Listen, we don't need help from other black folk. Whether they're lying or telling the truth about black folk. Believe me, we have enough stereotypes. We have enough discrimination. And we need people within our community to perpetuate those stereotypes. No, we do not. No, we don't. We don't need no help. White supremacy has already took credit. They already took control, and we have enough stereotypes. We don't need no more. We don't need our stereotypes to be reinforced. We do not. Let me see what else you guys saying over here. Oh, it was, yeah, Ciroc. That's what it was, Ciroc. You guys had a little bit of Ciroc. You guys had a little bit of puffy juice. No homo. I mean, no Diddy. I mean, who knows nowadays? It's the media. The media made me do it. The media made me do it. Miles Apart says, hey, family, when you get a chance, listen to the governor of Maryland officials who praise the immigrant community for their loss of lives, and they're going to do everything to make it right for them. You know, one day, you know, as we are coming, you know, this is the age of truth. And as more and more black folk are being evidently aware of the construct that we call America and the situations that we're in, you're going to have more and more people to try to stop that movement, who will try to dispel that movement, disperse that movement, or destroy that movement. They don't want you to be aware. And if the dominant society can talk about replacement theory, so can Black Americans. We're being replaced. And it's not even a secret. Anytime they drop thousands, hundreds of thousands of people off in the Black community, but nowhere else, you don't think you're trying to be just like they dropped off thousands of people. They dropped off thousands of Asians in the Black community. Was it back in the 50s and 60s? Yeah. But that's it, family. That's all I got for you guys today. You guys know where I stand. You guys know exactly where I stand. And, here's one more thing, family. Here's one more thing. I want you guys to listen to this next clip, okay? Fair use for commentary and context only. I want you to listen to this. And I showed this clip before with Dr. Umar Johnson. This is a really good clip that he said, but I want you to think about the media. I want you to think about propaganda. I want you to think about manipulated entertainment diluted to influence all. That is what I want you to think about. I want you to think about bias. I want you to think about disinformation and fake news and satire. Did we cover satire, family? Did we cover satire? Because this is how a lot of them operate. Satire, the use of humor, irony, or exaggeration, or ridicule to expose and criticize people's stupidity or vices, particularly in the context of contemporary politics and other topical issues. Listen in and think about those terms and words that we just went over.
So America knows, the entire global white power structure knows that when people are afraid, they will let you get away with murder. If there was no 9/11, the world wouldn't have sat by and let America go in there and do what they did in Afghanistan. So they had to imbibe the world with fear. And anybody who didn't agree with them, they simply said, what? You either with us or you against us. So the small little countries say, even though we don't think this is how this really happened, we got to ride with America because George Bush said they're just going to beat us up and bully us if we don't. The world is not run on law. The world is run on power. And if it's one thing Black people need to understand more than anything else, it is the politics and the rules of power. Because we keep on trying to change things with laws, with prayer, with protests, with marches. You need power. Let 1 million Black people show up to City Council in Washington, D.C. and say we want to end to this or begin to this. They will respond. What are we getting ready for now? A presidential election between Trump and Biden, two white supremacists, neither of which care about Black people, neither of which have done anything for Black people. But guess what? We're still aligned. Democrat, aligned, Republican. Let's unalign ourselves. Vote as a block. For the first time in American history, every African American is pledging his vote to his people. So we're going to sit down with Trump. We're going to sit down with Biden. We're going to give them a list of demands. How many can you meet? And we're telling you now, if you fail us, you automatically know there won't be a Democratic president the next election. You see that? People say, why do politicians ignore Black people? You're not organized to hold them accountable. Get your numbers together and you'll make the world respect you. Organization is in the group. Power is in the group. You see that? Victory is a team sport.
I like that clip, family. I like that clip a lot. Thank you all for joining me here this evening. Be one.